All right, it's 5 p.m. So we will call the agenda setting meeting of March 4, 2024 to order. All three committee members are in attendance, Colonel Geyer, Angela Middleton, and myself. I know we have the superintendent, the deputy superintendent, legal counsel, and I believe also board members, Carlton Dallas as well. So could one of the committee members make the motion to approve the agenda?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We can't hear you, Dick.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
I am going to put up the topics. I'll make it bigger. Of what you would like for me to include on the agenda.
Okay.
And this agenda, let me show you the agenda first.
Six to 7:30 on March 14th, which is Thursday, a Thursday, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And that looks good. So now are the topics of discussion were submitted, by the SIC members, and we have them listed here. So let's see, Angela and Dick, if you have any comments or about any of these that you would like to see on there or not see on there, or...
Clean feeders for better vertical alignment. I don't understand that.
I believe what that's saying just from those few words is that they want direct feeders from lower schools into upper schools, and I don't think that's possible given our enrollment at the different schools. Is that correct, Dr. R?
Yes, I think it's we're not there yet, but you know, to clarify, it would never be one elementary school to one middle school to one high school, because you have a lot more elementary schools. So what you can get is a pattern that says these 3 or 4 elementary schools feed this one middle school, which is this high school, right? You might that you know, you can get 2 middle schools that feed 1 high school, for example, right? But so I think that's what they're talking about. Our current situation doesn't allow it, really, and certainly in the Bluffton area, it's just the nature of enrollment. So I think once we get the elementary school built, that will start to facilitate that a little bit.
So this is a Beaufort issue, or a Bluffton issue, mostly because we don't have that issue really here north of the Broad.
That's correct. I mean, we have donut holes in the Bluffton area because of as new communities came online, space was available only at certain schools, and so decisions were made at that time to allow for those donut holes to exist. When the board goes through the process of rezoning, once the new elementary school comes online and rezones elementary, that'll help a little bit at that time. That'll help resolve some of that.
So, Madam Chair, perhaps this is something that could be addressed at a separate SIC joint meeting for those schools in the Bluffton area.
And it seems like right now it's a little premature to address it in the sense that we have to go with how the enrollment is, and we have, it's not within a 1 mile radius of each school or 2 mile radius just because of all the overcrowding. So I think it can be addressed, but I really think, as Dr. R just pointed out, it's premature now, even in the Bluffton area. Any comments from you, Angela?
No, ma'am.
So having taken a look at these, I see several of these I don't think really apply. For example, earlier start times for high school. We went through this a few years ago, and the research showed that elementary started earlier and high school should start later. We've done that. Bus schedules, we're in dire straits of bus drivers. The testing, the spring semester has more tests. Well, that's because the spring semester currently is longer than the fall semester by days. I believe it's 85, 95. So you have, probably 10% more days in the spring. So that's why there'd be more testing. The
Dr.
recent,
Klein,
yeah,
Dr. Klein, also, it's also the fact that the state does its testing at the end, but then so do the the advanced placement.
exactly.
College Board does their testing, and those are specific dates not set by us, but set by others.
Exactly. So I don't think that really have much control over. So it seemed like I don't know, of all these things on here, in-school cell phone use policy perhaps would be something to be discussed. I don't know about the recess. The recent process of calendar development, I thought that was well articulated to the public and to the schools, and what do I want to say? Input was received from both the public and the staff. I'm not sure what else there would be in terms of the process of the calendar development. And we now have 2 years that are already determined by the board vote recently. So we already have next year and the following year already determined. Mr. Smith?
I was just listening to some of the things that you said. Um, I think that some of these are some of the stuff, and I think that possibly we may need to. Well, I would kind of, for myself, would like to also understand the point of having these SIC meetings that are required, because if we're just meeting off of the topics that we feel safe to discuss, then I'm not sure that we are really fulfilling the obligation to actually even have these meetings, because I think that there are some of these topics that the community would like to talk about, including the calendar. Then if we voted the calendar with a clear and precise conscience, then there's no reason why we cannot have those conversations. I feel that it comes across as that we'd be more of a strong dictatorship, and I don't think that would be the correct message to send to SICs. That's how it comes across to me. These are things that they want to talk about. Then I think that is I have no problem, me personally, with talking about some of these topics that they want to talk about, as long as it's decent and in order. I just want to put that out there.
So there's eight topics here, and that's obviously way too much for the hour and a half that's normally given to this meeting. The reason I'm not trying to say anything is not safe to talk about, and that was the word you used, safe. I would use the word appropriate. And the reason I'd use appropriate is because some of this has already been vetted through the public and through the SICs, through the staff, through the parents. And I don't think we have to keep repeating the same things over and over again. So Colonel Geyer and Angela, tell me what topics you want on here.
Let's talk about the in-school cell phone use policy. What is that all about? I think I need more info. I definitely need more information about that.
Dr. R, do the schools have individual cell phone policies currently?
Yeah, I mean, I think in general we say not to use your cell phones during class time, right? And I think that's the general rule that's there. I took that the way that was written. I took it from the perspective of uh, whether there should be a zero cell phone policy or not. You know,
Mhm.
but but you know, I don't know. There's been conversation about that. That's something that I've seen on the news from time to time with different districts taking it on. So that's something that has come up, but that's how I interpreted that piece.
Well, that seems like maybe that would be a good topic for them to give input on. I mean, that if they can, give advice or whatever. It doesn't mean that and then the board can decide what they want to do with that advice.
Yeah, it seems to me like it could be. I mean, there's uh different different people feel differently about it. I think students sometimes have expressed that they feel if there was a policy around no cell phones, that it would be sort of liberating in a way. Uh, but they don't want a policy, but they just feel that it would be liberating in a way. So they're kind of like juxtaposed to one another on that thought. So it might be a healthy discussion. See what they think.
The other one
And
that I thought, oh,
in a lot of buildings, you don't get a signal. So,
yeah, there we go.
yeah. So we need to talk about that to get some explanation. What are they looking
Okay.
for? Yeah.
The other one that I thought might be very helpful might be the recess. It's kind of a topic that we kind of haven't already discussed a lot, and see what their ideas are on that.
Mm-hmm. I agree on that one.
I agree.
Okay. And do both of you agree about having one of the topics be the school cell phone policy, but as Angela already said, getting more insight in what specifically they want to discuss about that?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about a third? Do you want to do a third one, or you think two is good?
Well,
Can we have someone? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Colonel Guy.
I just thought I'd sure like to put the hall monitor bugaboo to bed. We've discussed it in the past. We've had some very clear guidance from our superintendent about his experience with those, and I think that's a kind of a overreaction to discipline issues, perhaps. But I think it's an issue that has a lot of traction, and I think maybe bringing that one up again to look at the cost benefit, the cost to that, and what is the benefit exactly?
I would concur with that. I would,
Mm-hmm.
and then those would be the three topics: the cell phone, the recess, and the hall monitors. Because
Right.
I really don't think the others apply a lot, but based on our previous discussions that the board has had and our previous attended zoning with the overcrowded schools in Bluffton, needing every district and probably in the state needs more bus drivers. We all have the same issue with a lack of qualified bus drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
So at one of the meetings, what we did is we passed out, remember when they had all these different suggestions? And on them, some of them, they were things that the board addressed and others that had already been addressed. So if we take we take in-school phone use policy, recess, and the hall monitors, then those other things on the list, we can just put information on the side, has either already been addressed, not, it's too early, something, and then we can just pass that out for those. So it's not like we're ignoring them, but they've already been addressed, or some kind of sentence, one-liner or something, and we can just pass that out so that we're not ignoring them, but they have been addressed, and we don't have to keep addressing it over and over again.
Great
That
idea. I was
sounds-
gonna make that
Yeah, I
suggestion.
think that's a great idea, and I'm on board with that.
Yes.
So the three that I have is in-school cell phone use policy, recess in the form of intramurals to help with physical and mental health, and hall monitors. Okay.
And I think that would take up the hour and a half. Do we want to do it like we did the last time, where we had just one general session versus breaking out into I guess you'd say the school age groups, elementary, middle, high
Yeah.
school? Which
It
do
makes
you
it
think?
easy. It makes it easy for control and getting the information.
If we have one group?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, in a way, I think that works better, having done both a number of times. Okay, so we're all in agreement with that. Mr. Smith?
I do have. I'm wondering, in the process of putting it on the agenda like that, it's not misleading that it won't come across that we're that misleading that we're going to address all these, or that we have addressed all these issues. Is that the understanding of it being put on the agenda like that? Because I just think for us to put all of those things on the agenda, it could come across as we're going to discuss all these things. All these things have been discussed, and I just don't want to make sure. I want to make sure that in no way we're coming across misleading community.
I think maybe there's a misunderstanding. My take on what Robin suggested was to have the other topics on a handout, not on the agenda, but on a handout, and how they had already been addressed. So the SIC members would know that we weren't just ignoring their other requests. This is what has already taken place for these other topics, and we've got to
And
limit it to a certain number of topics.
That's
yes,
the
ma'am.
agenda.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So they're not on the agenda.
Okay. 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 And on the handout, the handout that's being passed out, where's the agenda? Where's that handout coming from?
It can come from well, Dr. Rodriguez could his staff could do 2 sentences for each thing, or what do you think, Dr. Rodriguez?
Yeah, that's fine. We'd be happy to provide a couple, excuse me, a couple sentences on each.
Yeah. Okay. Just so they know that, yeah, we're aware of them, and here's information on each of them. Brief information. Yeah.
So
All
we're
right.
good with this agenda?
Yeah, anything else with this agenda? No,
No.
yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Then the work session agenda, let me get that. Right.
Okay. And this is the new disclaimer in the below the notice part, the red part. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
So on this agenda, we had 3 items in our future topic things that were work sessions. So these are the 3 things that were on that I put on there. So I
Yeah.
didn't know.
I have several items for the agenda that would hope I'm hoping we can talk about first before we hit the future topics. Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the first one in the morning, we're talking about the work session now, right?
Correct. It's
Yeah.
on March 22.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna need a half day for debt day presentation.
Yeah. From
So
Brandon or
that would take us to
Brady.
lunch,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Then and we'll have Franny and Brian there. Uh
Right.
so that'll take us to lunch. And then one of the things that came out of that future topics was alignment of pre-K curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to take a chunk of time too. That's going to take most of the afternoon. But then I thought we could add another thing that's out of that future topic, which is the use of school facilities. I think that was something that was on that list, I think from
Yeah.
Earl.
Yes.
And I thought we could tackle that in combination with the alignment of the pre-K curriculum, and that would take us through a full day.
Any comments from the committee members?
No, that sounds good.
So it's pre-K alignment.
Yeah, I think it's on there. I'm not sure if it was Dr. Wisniewski who had
It's-
requested that one, but she
Sure,
said it's
sure.
the alignment pre-K.
Mhm.
That would be like right after lunch, and
Okay.
that's a good chunk of that afternoon. And then the last component would be the use of school facilities, and that's one that Earl put on there. So those last two came directly from the future topics list.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So one other thing I would like a placeholder for, and I'm not sure whether it will be needed or not, would be a 30-minute executive session at 8:30. And that would be we may need to have an update on our process or our progress, progress regarding fiscal authority. And I just don't know if it will be at that point or not. Are you okay with that, Dick and Angela?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So 8:30 executive session.
Yes. And
Great.
I'm not sure what the
Okay.
wording would be. I'll have to get with Wendy for the wording of that. So just put executive session.
Got it.
And then Robin, can you go back to the future topics list you have? I know you had that in the diligent.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me go grab it.
And that looks pretty good to me, what we have on there. And I think we got a whole day and we have to, the debt day is absolutely necessary at this time in our budget calendar.
Mhm.
Any other input from anybody that's on the call?
Dr. Guads,
Yeah.
where it
Sorry.
says debt day, there'll be a few other tidbits that go along with finances related to that. So there'll be
So
a
that would be at the
be-
beginning of the meeting, at beginning of the public session, starting at 9?
no. What I'm saying is, as part of debt day presentation, right? Our finance team would have some additional information for the board, just like a brief budget update, and that sort of thing. So, I don't know if maybe we should call the whole thing like a financial update, and then have one sub bullet that says that day, and then one sub bullet that says budget update or something like that.
Okay, yep. So there, it's more than just the debt day presentation.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think we
Mhm.
want to be able to provide you all as much as we can.
Yeah. All right.
Dr. Glass,
Yes.
I really think that the strategic planning and the strategic other piece that Carlton mentioned is a all-day work session to be done right. The strategic review, strategic study, and I think that is something that we need to tackle uh, as soon as we can in a work session.
So Robin, do you know the date of the next work session after this one?
The next one is April 26th, but it's also a budget discussion. But I mean, you can make it.
I think we can on that April one. I think we could probably work both the budget discussion and a strategic component in there.
So you want to put those now currently on a draft agenda for that work session? So that budget discussion would be much smaller than the one that's going to occur on March 22, or less lengthy, I guess is maybe what I should say. And that we'd have those other two topics, it was the birth to, it was whatever Carlton had. It was, I can't remember the
Yeah.
exact wording. And
I
the
have it
strategic
here on
review.
the screen.
Okay.
Strategic
Oh,
study
yeah.
review,
Thank you.
April, and I put the strategic review, put both of those for April 26th.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, I see.
I,
Yep. Just did.
I would, yeah, I would almost say half a day and half a day, or maybe I mean a couple of hours and then the strategic plan a little longer. But for right
Okay.
now, why don't we book it as half a day, if that makes sense?
Yeah, at least then we've assigned it to a meeting. And then that pretty much gets all those things. All right. Anything else for the agenda for the work session on March 22, or looks like we've filled it up. Yeah. So under debt day presentation, that could be one bullet and the other one could be budget discussion or something, right? Or presentation. I'm not sure which it is. Probably a little of both. Yeah. Okay.
Carlton's hands up.
Yes, Carlton. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Cushingberry. Um, I think one of the things that maybe not for this one or the next one, but at some point in the agenda, I like to have it archived here. Looking at the legislative overview, we've had two really major bills or major discussions. The State Board of Education has put out a proposal for how a citizen can basically intercede in the school districts, challenging the school districts. Now I may have missed it, but I don't recall us having taken a position on that. And then the other one is the ESA, which last year, hello? Oh,
Keep going.
the other one is the ESA, Educational Scholarship Act, which was passed and planned last year for 3-year implementation, stair-stepped over 3 years in terms of funding and the number of students that would be covered, and the income that would trigger access to it. There's a meeting tomorrow on basically overdoing the ESA that was passed last year, making it unlimited for any wealth level, and also basically taking away the 3-year stair-stepped approach and going full bore. And I think us as a district looking at how we can proactively get an opportunity to review those things and weigh in the board and the administration can determine if they want to take it to our legislative advocates or what have you. But I think that's an area we're going to need to be very active in this year as an election year. So whenever it will be appropriate, at least a discussion at that particular time, according to the board's will. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Carlton. I could not agree more with what you just said. I don't know if we could, I think it's a pretty big thing to tackle. It seems like, this March 22, we have already a full day. And then, I don't know, waiting till April 26 might be, is that the date? Whatever it was, late April might be a little late. I don't know if we want to have something before that.
Well, you also have the day of the Capitol at April 10th.
That's true. Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to have a special called meeting prior to the April 10th, because that's the day of the Capitol that you all would go up.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. What do you guys think, Dick and Angela?
I think it's a good idea.
Me too.
To have a discussion before we go there?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too. Because it's in both of those things are important legislation. The other thing is too that we got, as we do every year from the South Carolina School Boards Association, that our board can bring forth legislative proposals for, now this would not be for this year, this would be for the next legislative session, and those are all due June 10th. So we obviously want to have a discussion long before there. So do you want to find a date, Robin, that would work for people in the before April 10th? That doesn't give us a ton of time. It seems like the evening is the best time to query the board members. Do Angela or Dick, do you want to suggest a couple dates?
Looking at the calendar.
Yeah, exactly.
April 8th might be the best that I can see.
Yeah, the only downside to doing it 2 days ahead is you're not going to have any time to,
That's true.
work on it, so to speak, if we need to do something for it. So,
What about April 4th?
Works for me.
So far, that'll work for me.
yeah, me too. And you know what, I really think we should get with Lynn Stokes Murray. I really think she would need to be in attendance to make it much better.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're proposing April 4th.
Yeah.
At what time?
5, is that good? Can you make it then, or?
I will propose 5 o'clock and check Lynn's calendar, and everyone else propose at 5 o'clock on April 4th.
That sounds good. And explain that we want it before the 10th. Yeah.
Right.
Will it be hybrid?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
And this meeting is just strictly for legislation what do we want to call it? Upcoming legislation?
Or current legislative review, something like that. And maybe we want to say position, I don't know, I think it would make it too long if we say, and how are we going to position ourselves? Just say, yeah.
Current legislative review.
Yeah. Then we can decide.
And you can decide what you want to do prior to April 10th.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Next on our agenda, I think we'll be determining our next agenda setting meeting.
Let's see. So our next board meeting, regular scheduled board meeting, would be Tuesday, April 2nd.
Yep.
So do you all want to meet on Tuesday, April 26th? Because it would be after the work session.
What about Monday?
Monday, the 25th is fine.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest, because that's kind of the
Okay.
pattern we're doing.
Yeah,
And 5 o'clock, via Zoom, Angela
Yeah.
and Deb. Yeah.
yes.
All right. And Dr. R, that's good for you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we just determined the next agenda setting meeting on Zoom will be Monday, March 25th at 5 p.m. And is there any other business that we need to discuss tonight?
No, ma'am.
All right, if there are no objections, then we will adjourn by unanimous consent, and I appreciate everybody's attendance this evening. Thank you.